Hey everybody, we just got our update for the beta program. So for version 3, some of the new numbers. I do have some clarifications on a couple of questions people asked me about, and I did talk about them on Discord, but it didn't make sense to release them in video form. So I am going to answer those as well, and we will do that right after the intro. Okay, so version 3, why did it take so long? People have been asking, like, what's going on? Why version 1 to version 2 is very quick. Version 3, it took over a week. And here's basically what happened. Last weekend, there was some messing up of the numbers that kind of happened in the code, and it invalidated a few days of testing, which is not a big deal. I mean, that is why we're doing the beta. I know that players are impatient. They want to know what's going on. They want to know what's going to happen with their accounts and with relics. And but that's why we're here, right? Is to figure those things out. And then this week, earlier in the week, there's I guess I always sort of knew this, but you don't really think about it. There is differences in the way that the AI acts in a PvP environment and a PvE environment. And we kind of realized doing the galactic challenges that some matches we are only winning because of the PvE environment, and the computer was doing dumb things that it wouldn't normally do in PvP. And that has been corrected. And then again, that's what a beta program is for, right? Arguably, if this test was done without the beta testers, would that have been caught? No idea. Um, so we do have our version 3 numbers, and they are, I still don't think they're where they need to be. But I do want to stress that it is a beta, and it is an ongoing beta, and this could take another week, it could take another 2 weeks, it could take another 3 weeks. This is not live yet, right? And we are going to continue to test different instances and whether or not everything needs to be lowered. So without further ado, our version 3 numbers are right here, right? You will see that the Relic Delta 3, 4, and 5 have not changed at all. So those are the upper limits. But the Relic 1 and Relic 2 numbers have shifted down. So if you have a -1 relic, you are only going to do 5% less damage. If you have -2, you're only going to do 10% less damage. And then vice versa on the other side. At a 1 differential, you'll do 5% more. At a 2 differential, you will do 10% more. This is I will say that I was a little bit disappointed overall to get these numbers. I was hoping for things to be a little smaller, especially at the top end. But again, a few things to keep in mind through the testing that we have done. We are seeing teams that are able to do things at Relic Delta 3 and Relic Delta 4. And we also were testing against full same level teams the majority of time, with full same level teams the majority of the time. But the reality is that sometimes you are going to have a little bit more of a mixed relic differential, especially with galactic legend requirements, right? So while yes, there are counters that exist that don't include those types of characters, and they stay at like relic 5, and you don't want to bring them higher, um, for the most part, it is going to be rarer to see a 3 and a 4. Um, I will say that this week, right now, we are focusing primarily on using. Um, we are focusing primarily on using more average modding instead of using just our typical mods. And we are looking at testing more of the soft counters. So things that are not like the 98% of the time you all will win. More of the, hey, normally 75, 80%, this works, but only if you do it right. So that is the goal of testing right now. One other thing that I want to point out, because we are testing in galactic challenges, we've kind of come up with a system to give those characters more stats. And basically what happened was a lot of us went in, we looked at our stats on our characters versus the base stats for those characters, and we got averages for like the differentials you'd see. I can actually pull it up. I was given permission to talk about this, but so like right now, the characters have 35% more max health than they would normally have, or 35% max protection than they normally would have. Speeds are set to 50% more speed than they would normally have, to kind of tweak and figure out things and see what different counters look like. I will say that in my testing before version 3, um, I was finding that a lot of teams were still working at the Relic Delta 2 and Relic Delta 3 positioning a lot of the time. Relic Delta 4 is typically where things start to fall apart unless you have like a really high gimmick team. There are a few characters that I was struggling with a little bit more. Testing Sith Eternal Empire at a Relic Delta of 1 against Gas became dicey, which was very surprising to me. But at the same time, I was testing a Relic 4 versus a Relic 5. And, Galactic Legends have a disproportionate increase because of their Galactic Legend unique. So would it have changed at a higher Relic level? I don't know. Maybe I'm going to play with that a little bit this current week. Um, I know that some people in the comments are gonna be like, oh, these numbers, whatever. Listen, you saw my last video, and obviously there were parts of this that I am not as happy with, and I am going to continue to push for answers and for responses and to try to get some of the higher numbers a little bit more reasonable. Um, I once again, I do think that the maximum should be negative 50% damage, and the maximum damage should be 100% increased damage as a testing point. But from what we've seen, things do work in a lot of situations. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Through Discord, I've seen a lot of doom and gloom. I've seen a lot of people coming up with situations that are very unlikely, assuming that they're coming up against full Relic 9 teams all of the time. I will tell you that in my last Kyber match, my Kyber 1 match, my opponent had two Relic 9 characters on defense, so it's something to kind of take with a grain of salt as we do continue the testing and to do continue trying to figure these things out. Two questions that I did receive answers to that I have been talking about and I have asked to be able to share. And again, I did talk about on Discord. The first is summoners, what happens to their summons. Right now, they have a hidden relic level. I am told that summons summon at the level of the character, right? So if you have an R9 Quad May, her Handmaiden will come out at Relic 9. And then Assault Battles, this has been a PvE point of contention for me. At first, we were given no information. I was told that they are going to look at the data, they're going to identify the lower ends of investment for completion for assault battles for challenge tiers, and they are going to use that as the baseline for setting the relic delta or the relic levels of those characters. So the hopeful goal there is that new players that are looking to build dominance through assault battles will not have any issues doing that when the system does come to life. Um, there isn't much more information other than that at this time. Just know that one, we are taking this very seriously and we are testing over, different types of gameplay and different modding sets and different stat differentials to try to figure things out with Omicrons, without Omicrons. We are talking, about like things like Datacrons and how that will be approached. And I want to stress my opinion is that even though I right now am not as positive as some of the people after seeing the context that we got, um, I want to stress that you should try it, right? when you have all of this doom and gloom and you're like, I've already quit because this is coming to the game, just give it a chance. See how it affects your account. And if you don't like it, then at that point, you quit. But give it a chance because we are doing our best to make this system as equitable as as we possibly can. Um, and we're gonna go from there. And I will, keep you guys updated on Discord, and I will keep you guys updated on YouTube or whatever means. And I've talked a lot about short-term concerns that I have, and I'm gonna keep pushing for those short-term concerns. And I will once again share that one thing that I really want to see happen is that Relic Delta turns on in stages. So whenever it releases, only Relic Delta 1 releases. 2 months later, Relic Delta 2 releases, just to give people time to acclimate their teams to where they need to be instead of, hey, now you have to Relic everything. But again, I will keep you updated. I appreciate you guys watching this stuff. I appreciate you having faith in me. I've seen a lot of support lately. A lot of people have reached out to me, and thank you. Be well. Peace out, and have a great rest of your day.